roll that stone away, roll that stone away. Raise yourself up and roll that stone away, just like Jesus did on Resurrection Day. Raise yourself up and roll that stone away.
Raise yourself up and roll that stone away. Does it have a different meaning for you now that you've heard that song? Yes. The Easter message is a message of resurrection, that we have the power within us to overcome whatever the world hands us. We have the power to roll away the stone of any ego limitations that block us from rising up and becoming fully who we came here to be. A very wise person once said that when you feel the world has handed you more than you can handle, when you feel stuck, when you feel blocked, all you have to do to feel better is pray and eat a handful of jelly beans. So, what is your favorite color jelly bean? Yell them out. We all have different colors, don't we? All different flavors that we like. And just like we each like a different flavor, a different colored jelly bean, we each like a different flavor of the Easter story. Do you know there are 6 Easter stories in the Bible? There are 1 in each of the 4 Gospels, 1 in Acts, and 1 in 1 Corinthians. And they're all different. So we get to have our flavor, don't we? Some of us have the religious flavor of Easter. Jesus, the crucifixion, the tomb, the resurrection. Some of us have the worldly flavor, the Easter bunny, Easter eggs, jelly beans, spring, new life. This is a metaphysical church. So what's the metaphysical flavor of Easter? It is awakening to our I am, which is what we call the Christ self within us. It's rolling that stone away and rising up to a higher consciousness. What we call the I am within us can be awakened by any flavor, and hear this, any flavor Easter celebration. Religious, worldly, metaphysical. When I hear the message underneath the ritual and the words. So today's talk is in the garden. And Sister Mary was directing her class in the Easter story. And she wanted to make sure every child had the part they wanted. Well, little Anthony wanted to be the stone in front of the tomb in the garden. She said, don't you want a speaking part? He said, no, I want to be the stone in front of the tomb in the garden. So they put the play on, and of course the parents came, and the aunts and the uncles, and it was wonderful if you've ever been to one of those school plays. And after the play, Sister Mary said again to Anthony, would you tell me why you wanted to be the stone in front of the tomb in the garden? And it just beamed up to her, this big grin on his face, and said, because it felt so good to let Jesus out of the tomb. So this morning, I invite you to set aside whatever problems, whatever worries you came in with, to roll that stone away and let Jesus, the essence of God within you, out of the tomb. Our scripture this morning is from John 20, verse 1. Early on the first day of the week, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene came to the tomb and saw that the stone had been removed from the tomb. So she ran and found Peter and another disciple. They came to the tomb, went inside, found it empty, just the wrappings that had been on Jesus left. And the disciples left. But Mary stayed in the garden, crying. And then she heard a voice. The voice said, "Woman, why are you weeping? Who are you looking for?" And Mary turned, she thought it was the gardener, until Jesus said, "Mary." And then she realized it was Jesus, and she turned saying, "Rabboni," which means teacher in Hebrew. So when I'm in that place of sorrow, that place of depression, when I'm unable to see or feel the Spirit of God within me, the comfort, the strength I seek is right there. But I'm too blinded by my tears. I'm too focused on my pain and my problems to feel it. Last week, I was chatting with my family, asked them what their favorite Easter song was. My granddaughter, Kayla, said, "Here Comes Peter Cottontail." You know why? It's the only Easter song she's ever heard. Like a lot of us, she hasn't heard "The Old Rugged Cross" or "Christ the Lord is Risen Today" or "In the Garden." And when I mentioned "In the Garden," my daughter Suzanne and I started singing it together, and I was surprised that she knew all the words. But as we sang it together, I realized that that old song, "In the Garden," had a whole new message in it for me. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We say that prayer is talking to God, that meditation is listening. But there is a place under meditation, beyond meditation. And what I found is that song, "In the Garden," is about this place. So in a few minutes, BA is going to play "In the Garden" for us. And I'm going to invite you to let go of any old beliefs that you have attached to this song, good or not so good. Just let them go. Roll the stone away and listen with new ears. Hear the message for your soul in this song.
I come to the garden alone, while the dew is still on the roses, and the voice I hear falling on my ear, the Son of God discloses, and He walks with me, and He talks with me, and He tells me I am His own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. He speaks, and the sound of His voice is so sweet, the birds hush their singing, and the melody that He gave to me within my heart is ringing, and He walks with me, and He talks with me, and He tells me I am His own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known.
And breathe. Just let that wash over you for a few minutes. And He walks with me, and He talks with me, and he tells me I am his own. And the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. We are never alone. There is a divine presence, energy, that is always in and around us. So what happens? We become so entombed. We become so wrapped up in our emotions, in our thoughts, what he or she did or didn't do, our Facebook, our email, our traffic, the bills, the girl at the mall, that we're unaware of it, aren't we? When Jesus said, Mary, when Jesus said, Fern, Amy, Nancy, he was saying, why are you crying? I'm right here. When you're in that space inside you where all you can do is be buried in that problem, that divine presence is there, saying, why are you crying? I'm right here. And the voice I hear fallen on my ear, the Son of God discloses. The Son of God is our spiritual self, what we call the Christ self within us, who and what we are under our personality, under our egos. Can you feel it? You know that space. Under all that thoughts in my head that say, oh, poor me. Martha Creek, remember? That's right here. So there's going to be times when we probably feel like we're being crucified, right? But no matter how bad life looks or how impossible things appear, when we get quiet enough, the voice is there, urging us to believe we can do better, urging us to rise up and try again. He speaks, and the sound of his voice, one of my favorite lines, is so sweet the birds hush their singing. When I turn my attention within, away from those crazy thoughts in my head, that party that keeps going on, away from the focus on my problems, and I can touch that place that's under prayer, that's under meditation, there is a sweetness there, a sweetness of peace and stillness that is so loud, all the outside noises disappear. The birds hush their singing. The melody that he gave to me within my heart is ringing. As I touch that place, there is an overwhelming love that moves through me, around me. The spiritual power of love is oneness with all things, with everything. And so in that place, there is nothing but oneness, the sweetness of oneness. And the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. The miracle of resurrection happens in the garden within us, where our inner Christ spirit is waiting to lead us onward and upward to a higher state of consciousness, to a spiritual rebirth, and to a joy unlike anything we have ever known. This is what Easter's about. The garden, metaphysically, is the essence of God within us. And the Easter story is my story, your story, our story. That within us lies all the strength, the courage, and wisdom we need to triumphantly face any fears and transform into a new self. And all we have to do is roll, say it with me, roll that stone away. So, what thoughts and beliefs are keeping you trapped and entombed, keeping you from rolling your stone away? What condition, what person, what situation has become your stone? Blocks you from feeling vitally alive, radiant, free, joyous. Whatever the world hands you and me, we have the power to overcome it. We have the power to roll away the stone of false beliefs, of negative thoughts and habits that block us from entering the garden. No matter how difficult the challenge, no matter how tough or painful your circumstances, you can transcend them. You can move from darkness and doubt, from fear, into light and freedom. We are imbued with the same spiritual powers as Jesus. But we have to move that stone away. Not by our human might or power, but by accessing and using these spiritual powers within us. I'm doing a talk series right now on the 12 spiritual powers. And we have a Tuesday morning class going on. And this week, which is what the Easter message is about, is the power of love. And we begin the power of love this Tuesday. The cross, the crucifixion, the tomb, the stone are not the end. On the other side is the resurrection. So today we celebrate Easter metaphysically. The spirit of overcoming. The power to, excuse me, excuse me, my water. We turn. Okay. I get excited and then I use my voice too much. So today, the spirit of overcoming, the power to let the Christ within us rise up to a higher state of consciousness. Miracles can and will happen. New life is waiting for you. Awaken your I am, roll that stone away, step into the garden, and rise up. God bless you.